it feels like I see it with clients, and I have also experienced it myself, where no matter how astute or educated I am around emotional intelligence, I hit a point where I feel like I cannot break through this barrier. What is that?
That's the role of the subconscious. You can't access the subconscious because essentially it's not conscious. And people underestimate the power of the subconscious. Big mistake. I think that's what Bruce Lipton says, doesn't he? It's like 1,000,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind. It is so. And yet, when you have the right tools, it dissolves in minutes. Something that has been there for years and years and years can dissolve in minutes, and the charge around it is just neutralized. Well, I can't explain how it does it, but I can see that it does it.
And you have proof that it's...
We've seen it with clients, It's an absolutely magical process, and it's so elegant because it just dissolves. And in the imaging, you could see it instantly, because the moment the person held the right frequency, the charge around it, the fuzziness just disappeared, just like that, on the instant. I mean, it doesn't mean that this happens at the energetic level. It's instant. But in this 3D reality, it manifests also very, very fast. Just giving that person the right frequency to hold. All these frequencies are what are called ultra-high dilution frequencies. So it's a thing which has been reduced to a frequency where there's no physical molecule present. So you can't take it to a lab and say, can you please tell me, what it contains? It will contain water. That is all. So,
can you go into perhaps a more medical description, or maybe I'll ask Meher first and we can go back to you, Thrity, in terms of charge and emotion? What does that mean?
For me, all emotions carry some charge. And that charge can have a beneficial effect on our physiology or a non-beneficial effect on our physiology. Having said that, I don't think there is any such thing as a negative emotion or a positive emotion. It's how we interpret it, and it's to do with our perception. So, for instance, somebody who is very connected to the world of duality may perceive an event as being very negative, and their physiology and their emotional state will reflect that. And somebody who, for instance, is living more in unity consciousness and is more in surrender to the universal intelligence and in acceptance, their perception of witnessing the exact same event will have a very different effect on their emotional reality and thereby on their physiology. The key thing I think about emotional charge is that any event that creates a very high emotional charge often leaves an imprint in our biolight field. And it's a bit like in a computer, every experience that we have is logged in the biolight field. On a computer, when any key that we press on our keyboard is logged on the hard drive. I think we all know that. Similarly, every experience that we have is logged in our biolight field. People also talk about cellular memory, body memory. There are all these ways in which every experience that we've had is recorded in some way. And the key thing about that is that events that have had a high emotional charge are still running in the background. So in that sense, there is no past or future, or there is no, how can I put it? It's beyond space and time, because everything that's happened to us that we think is in the past is still affecting us because it's logged in the field. And that will affect how we perceive whatever it is that's out there, because it goes through this filter of our perception as based on our past experience, which is still current. So I think, this idea that time heals is not necessarily accurate. And in fact, there have been studies done that have shown that adverse childhood events that occurred for people in their childhood are potentially creating physical illnesses. I mean, serious illnesses like respiratory illnesses, apart from the mental health things, also respiratory illnesses, cancers, etc., heart disease, decades later.